welcome back to another episode of the Rural Health Podcast. I'm taking my show back over. Dr. Reed, he just gained too much popularity after the first one. It was the second most listened to podcast in history within the first 24 hours. So I guess you guys must have loved it. I don't like that. So I gotta get back on here to show him who's boss and have a killer episode as we talk through the last episode this month of fat loss, how to achieve fat loss. And today we're going to tie in toxicity and fat loss. So how toxins negatively impact your body's ability to lose fat specifically. So we're going to dive into it because we are toxic. The longer we live on this planet, the more toxic we become. There's this idea of what we call bioaccumulation, which is where we just store toxins over time. And our system, our body detox system, becomes less efficient over time at eliminating toxins efficiently. So that's what we're going to talk about today. So I'm going to give you a few reasons why toxins affect fat loss, and then I'm going to give you a couple strategies to hopefully detoxify your body so that we can break through some fat loss plateaus that you may have. Our aim, our vision, is to provide you with as much content that's practical in a short period of time. So we're typically going to knock this out in about 15 and no more than 20 minutes. So let's get going. Let's talk about how toxins affect fat loss. So the first way that toxins affect fat loss is toxins are stored in your fat cells. Toxins are stored in fat cells. So it's a protective mechanism. When we look at toxins and we store them in our fat, it's to protect them from vital organs. And so the big issue here, though, is that when you start to burn fat, toxins can be released. And as toxins are released into the bloodstream, it can actually slow down your metabolism. I think this is one of the reasons why you have what we call weight loss plateaus, where you achieve a certain amount of fat loss and then your body kind of gets stuck. So maybe you've lost 20 pounds, 30 pounds, or 40 pounds, but you're kind of stuck. Why? It could be that your body is so toxic, your liver specifically is so toxic because of all the toxins that have been released from fat being burned over the last few months, that you actually create a sluggish metabolism. That's why in our office, our strategy is that when people are going through their fat loss journey, that we make sure we are supporting the liver for detoxification. We will come back to that here in just a minute. But let's talk through the first point. Toxins are stored in fat. The more fat you burn, the more toxins you release, and it could be impeding your fat loss journey. Number two, toxins disrupt hormones. Toxins disrupt hormones. So they're hormone disruptors. There are specific endocrine disrupting toxins like BPA, like parabens, that are in such abundance in our environment. And when they get into our body, they interfere with hormones that we talked about 2 episodes ago, like insulin and cortisol and even thyroid hormones. Specific toxins can interfere with these hormones that allow metabolism to occur. So if you want to achieve fat loss and continue to achieve fat loss, removing plastics like BPA from your body, from your environment, can absolutely help with your fat loss journey. So number 2 is hormone disruptions. Toxins can be hormone disruptors. Number 3, kind of going off those first 2 points, toxins are hormone disruptors. They're stored in fat cells. So what they do is they can actually overload the liver. The liver plays a key role in detoxification and metabolism. If the liver is overwhelmed with toxins, it may struggle with the ability to generate a greater level of metabolism. It leads to a stalled weight loss. Your liver is so important to protect going through detoxification. And actually, it's one of the most important strategies in helping achieve continual fat loss. If you are stuck at a certain weight, your liver may be the problem. Number 4, inflammation and insulin resistance. So toxins can actually drive inflammation and insulin resistance. So what do toxins do? Toxins are, again, stored in fat. Your cells have a bilipid membrane of fat. So your every cell literally has like a 2-layer membrane of fat. Okay, toxins kind of penetrate those fat cells, store themselves in the cell or the fat of the cell, the membrane of the cell, especially hormone disrupting type toxins. And they disrupt your cell's ability to hear insulin. Insulin resistance can actually be driven not just by sugar alone, blood sugar dysregulation, but by hormone disrupting toxins. It then drives inflammation, which will bring us to point number 5, mitochondrial dysfunction. The mitochondria are the power plant of the cell. So when these toxins store themselves in your cells, not only does it affect the cell receptors where those cells can't hear hormones and be metabolically as active, but they actually then go into and affect the mitochondria, which is the ATP producing power plant. It's the power plant of your cell. All metabolism, fat oxidation, it happens through your mitochondria. And as mitochondria are interfered with and damaged, not only does it create long-term chronic disease health issues that have been linked to cancer, Alzheimer's, dementia, and the list goes on, but it will absolutely affect how that cell generates energy and therefore can be a like core cellular dysfunction of why fat loss may be stalled out. The last one, which again is a conversation we had a couple weeks ago, was leptin resistance. There is evidence that shows toxins will directly affect the hypothalamus, which is a part of the brain that listens to leptin and signals to the body when there's enough leptin and to increase your metabolism. So virtually, if your hypothalamus is burned out and not hearing leptin, you'll never get the point across the body that says, hey, I'm full, time to increase metabolism. And your brain will perceive that it's in starvation mode and will go into hibernation and actually down-regulate your metabolism. This is a major factor in weight loss resistance or fat loss resistance. And these 6 points could absolutely be a driving force of why you hit a plateau. And toxins are fundamentally at the core of why hormone disruption occurs, why the liver can't do its job, okay? So toxins play a big issue. And we all know this world is toxic. I mean, the clothes we wear is plastic. We drink from plastic. We eat off plastic. I mean, our whole environment is full of endocrine disruptors. And then we have heavy metals like mercury, which is a massive endocrine disruptor, and the list goes on. So how do we support detoxification? So we presented the issue, we've got a problem. How do we now clean up our body? So I'm going to give you some strategies that you can start implementing immediately to start detoxifying your body. The first one is you got to support the liver. There's a lot of different ways to support the liver. You have things like milk thistle, which is great for the liver. Increasing bitter foods like dandelion, arugula, even lemon water can stimulate bile production and bile release, and this will actually aid the liver in cleaning out fat kind of soluble toxins. Within support liver function, you can eat liver supportive foods. So like cruciferous vegetables, beets, garlic, turmeric, they help the liver function better. So support the liver through some of those strategies. And also, you also want to take care of the liver. So don't consume alcohol. Don't minimize toxins. Okay, anything that's going to overwhelm the liver is something that we want to eliminate. But then also support the liver through cruciferous vegetables, bitter foods, lemon water. All of those things will help. Okay. Number 2, you have to drink a ton of water. When you are intentionally in a fat loss season, water is one of the best ways to eliminate toxins. Tons of water. And not toxic water, reverse osmosis, mineral-rich water. Or one of my favorite strategies in water is actually consuming something called hydrogen water. Hydrogen is the smallest element on the periodic table of elements. It acts like an antioxidant. It actually helps detoxify the body. It's one of the most powerful antioxidants because it can go anywhere in the entire body. You can buy hydrogen tablets and add it to your water every single morning and slam that down. And it's one of the best ways to hydrate and support detoxification. So optimize hydration is number 2. Number 3 is to reduce toxin exposure. So what are the big ones? Okay, plastics are one of the biggest endocrine disruptors. Choose organic when possible. So when we look at especially the dirty dozen, avoid the dirty dozen and add to that organic grass-fed beef, wild salmon, and free-range chicken. And then number 3 within reducing toxic exposure, which I think is the biggest one, is we just mentioned, but clean up your water. Clean up your water, okay? Number 4, you gotta sweat toxins out. If you're not sweating, you're not detoxifying. It's one of the best strategies to actually detoxify the body. Sweat it out. So whether it's a sauna, whether it's just being outside, or whether it's a good hard workout, we gotta be sweating in order to detoxify the body. And the last point, number 5, you have to support the mitochondria. If you want to prevent cancer and chronic disease, if you want to optimize energy systems and you want to break through weight loss plateaus, you got to support the mitochondria. What are the mitochondria? The mitochondria are the power plant. We just talked about them. How do we support them? Here's a few ways to support them. Magnesium, which we're all depleted in. B vitamins. CoQ10 is a great way to support the mitochondria. Omega-3 fatty acids. Okay, so those are some key nutrients. Another nutrient powder that I'm a big fan of is called beetroot powder. Beetroot powder increases nitric oxide production and really helps support the mitochondria. That's number 5, support the mitochondria. When we look at plateau effects and weight loss and fat loss journeys, and we look at maybe why we have headaches and why we may not be feeling good. Toxins may be a critical piece of the puzzle for you in your fat loss journey. So when we listen to today's podcast, I would encourage you to apply one of these principles of cleaning up your environment. And if you're asking me, where do we start? Start with clean water. If you start with clean, reverse osmosis water, throw some hydrogen tablets in that every single morning, I guarantee if that's all you did, you would significantly improve how toxic your body is and start chipping away at the bioaccumulation of toxins that are being stored in our body every single day. Today's episode concludes the month of how to achieve fat loss and how to break through the fat loss journey and why weight loss is not the key, but fat loss is the key and maintaining muscle mass. So I hope today was super helpful, added a lot of value. As always, you can go to our resources page at realhealthco.com. That's realhealthco.com. Go to our resources tab, and all of these podcasts are there for you as guides that you can download or send to your friends to help them achieve greater health in their journey. So thanks again for listening to another episode of the Real Health Podcast. Our passion is to add value to your healthcare journey. Anything that we do, we want to do it within a community to help as many people as possible. Thanks for listening to episodes of the Real Health Podcast. If you could subscribe, and you can share, it would help our mission to reach as many people with real health that produces real results for real people.